It never is. Like, I mean, this is like, and this is part of the problem, right? Is like HR and benefits and people leaders tend to form strategy and tactics mostly like, and they're many of them, they're empaths. They form these points of view based on the feedback of their teams and their people. Well, if no one's talking about it, then how are you supposed to solve it, right?
Yeah.
It's a massive problem, Daniel, for sure. Something the two of you need to know about me is I am naturally an optimist. And so I always see the world like through the lens of someone who's hopeful and someone who's positive and excited about the future. And so, Daniel, I will say, like, what you just said a second ago is true. We are making progress, which I'm very proud of. I feel like we've played hopefully a small role in that. Specifically thinking back to like 10, 12 years ago when we started, like the amount of progress we've made since. So I'm seeing good things. However, you're right in that many conversations we're still having with employers and people leaders tend to reveal that there's one of a number of challenges that sort of stand between their ability to properly support caregivers and their folks' ability to be able to really show up and perform and climb the career ladder and excel in their lives and their careers because of it. We just touched on a big part of the issue, the stigma that is attached to caring for someone, many folks not wanting to openly admit that there's something going on. I think there's a lot of employers as well in our country that they have sort of a different view of their role as the employer in providing certain benefits and programs to their people versus maybe not feeling a sense of responsibility. Like, so they'll provide maybe core benefits, health and medical and dental and vision, but they sort of feel like anything else on top of this is up to the employee. We live in a world where benefits and programs are expensive. So if budgets are tight, especially like they are right now, like there's just some concern around, okay, how do I justify this expense or this investment? It's interesting. We sit down with a lot of these folks and you can, within the first 5, 10 minutes of a conversation, like we'll ask them, like, have you ever been down this path before? And ironically, they'll be very open, just like the three of us are about their experiences. But then as soon as you start to talk to them about what their employees might be going through, they tend to kind of opt for more of a reactive approach versus a proactive one. They'd rather just sort of put the fire out when they see that there's a fire versus getting out in front of it before it becomes a problem. Lastly, I'd also comment this: there's definitely a generational shift going on with how millennials and Gen Z sort of think about turning to solutions that their employer might offer for things like mental health and caregiving and family support versus potentially, Gen X or baby boomers. And so I think employers are still even trying to get their arms a little bit around this as they're trying to manage sort of each of the generations that they have within their workforce and how to create something that's truly inclusive. So lots of challenges, but that said, I am seeing progress. I am seeing more awareness. I am seeing more empathy. I am seeing more sort of seeking first to understand by HR and people leaders and executive managers, like looking at their folks. And maybe part of that is that they've recently gone through this themselves. And it sort of gets them a little bit more open to the possibilities and the struggles of what their folks might be going through. But proud of what I'm seeing, but still, we've got work to do. I mentioned we're coming up on 2 million eligible employees. There's 150, 160 million employees in the labor force in the United States. We got work to do, guys. So excited about the progress. Still more work to do here.